So, like, you really need to get into reality, boss. It's like the problem that we're confronting is we have MAGA who live outside reality. To them, the Constitution doesn't matter. All this shit doesn't matter. They're like living in a Jesus-driven world. They can override science and the weather and shit because of Jesus and their Bible. Okay? That's MAGA. They're completely outside reality. Then we have a faction of leftists who are like living completely outside reality. You know what I mean? That are like, oh, there are 4 parties. Surely we can mount a fucking difference, blah, 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 blah. But like, dude, America has always been 2, dude. It's been the North and the South. The battles were about race and or they evolved beyond that to other marginalized shit. Race, native versus immigrant, which flipped. Originally, it was the immigrants that were getting all the power. Now they want to claim nativism. They're like flipping the script on it. But it's come down to race. It's come down to nativism. And then the race argument has blended into like women and LGBTQ issues. But America is like 2. And yes, this is why Bernie, what did Bernie do? Bernie has had an I next to his name his entire career. Bernie was an independent his entire career, but Bernie ran as a Democrat. He ran as a Democrat, but like Bernie kind of f***ed up though, because he should have joined the Democratic leadership and he should have become the leader of the party. But I think Bernie likes to be on the podium in front of the crowd. I think Bernie is like, he's like, even right now, I love what Bernie's doing. He's out there whipping people up, but who's the presidential nominee going to be? It's not going to be fucking Bernie, right? So Bernie's going to like stand in front of a podium and get cheers for 4 years. And then what's he going to do? Is he going to align with a candidate and we're going to win? Or is he going to give a playbook to the fucking Republicans like he did in 2016 and help them win the Midwest? You know what I'm saying? Like whether we like it or not, we have 2 infrastructures. And my point is like, we need to stop living in these theoretical fantasy worlds that we're constructing, trying to protect our integrity. And we need to start accepting the reality of America that as it is right now and what we have to work with, you know? And that's what's problematic for me is I feel like I spend an awful lot of time arguing with leftists who their integrity leads them to believe that there's a reality that isn't real, that they think somehow they're going to like magically bring a whole bunch of millions of people, get them to abandon the Democratic Party and start some magical journey led by Kate Willett. And like, they're all going to wear Palestinian flags and like win the goddamn presidency. And it's like, dude, that ain't going to happen, you know? And so like, we do need to at some point come together and think about a long-term way that we can infiltrate this shit. And right now though, dude, we have bigger looming issues right now we have looming issues that you start a protest, you may end up in an El Salvadorian jail. And part of the reason we have this issue is because we couldn't unite leftists and liberals and moderates and Democrats. We couldn't unite to get Kamala Harris elected. And so now, are we going to mount an effective resistance to Donald Trump when the Kate Willets of the world are like yelling that I am okay with bombing kids? It's like, ew, I actually raised a fucking kid. I mean, she's sitting there talking shit to me, but like I actually have had a kid and got him to 20 years old. Dude, look at what she said, dude. Look at this shit, bro. Look at what her answer was. Her answer was, I'm not on your side. I think your centrist fascism apologetics have to be utterly defeated, or we will keep having worse and worse Trumps. Maybe we can't defeat you. Well, right now we are looking at the world where you won and it's awful, so I'll keep trying. So like, she's not even going to fight Trump. She wants to fight me, is what she does, dude. But this is the problem, guys. This is one of the problems that we have, is people like her are polluting the fucking system. I mean, dude, it's hard. It's hard because, like, obviously people are freaking out. The irony, though, of that, like, Kate Willett situation is what you see is that there is a faction of leftists, and this is not all leftists. Like, I'm very leftist in belief, you know, Medicare for all, free education through post-secondary, as much education or trade school as you could handle, all paid for by the wealthy. UBI, okay, I believe everybody should own property. I mean, dude, it only makes sense that everybody should be allowed a entrance into the ownership class. I'm also, you know, pragmatic enough to understand that, like, okay, if I want to make that shit happen, how do I do it? And like, okay, I'm not going to do it with the Republican Party, and I'm not going to be able to do it by being the type of leftist that just goes around fucking shooting the Democratic Party in the knees. So like Kate Willett, as you see from her tweets, she's going to fight me, okay, because it's safe. Okay, she can fight me risk-free. I'm never going to throw her in El Salvador. She can fight me all day, and then she can always complain about how she's not winning and be upset at how terrible the world is because they're all those two horrible parties, right? So, like, when you want to live in a space of eternal victimization, you take the fights that allow you to forever be unsatisfied. And that's the problem. Is we got to stop being like forever unsatisfied, and we got to start being willing to put in the actual work to build a better world. You know, it's weird because that brand of leftism is I think what's going on in Ukraine and Gaza and Africa, all over there in the Middle East and Africa, is fucking bad, and it's been bad for a while. And a lot of horrors, a lot of people dying, just a lot of fucking death. Now, one of the things that's really problematic, though, is there's no path forward without some level of acceptance of that's not going to disappear right away. And that much of the country isn't actually concerned about that. Like, if you talk to Kate Willett will try to tell you that if Kamala Harris had said, I won't ship any more weapons to Israel, we're defending Palestine all the way. She thinks Kamala Harris would have won. And in fact, Kamala Harris would not have won that election if she had done that. She would have lost by a bigger margin. And in fact, many of the down ballot people would have lost because most of America is Christian, and most of Christian America is not concerned who's dying in the Middle East. They are, but they're not. They're more concerned about gas prices and their kids' school board and whether they can buy a new car and go on vacation. Now, right or wrong, that is just the reality. If you look at the fucking protests, the pro-Palestinian protests here, there weren't a lot of them. They were mostly college kids. They were mostly even at like upper level colleges where a lot of really rebellious and we're going to change the world kind of personalities go, but they didn't ever spread nationwide. They didn't turn into a huge deal. They didn't protest any Republican shit. They're not protesting right now. You know, they're not outside the White House right now protesting this shit. So it's not obviously nearly the huge movement that echo chamber thinks it is. Okay? And if you go to the Midwest, in the small town America where it's 90% white and they all go to church on Sunday in fucking Nebraska and Iowa and Indiana and Wisconsin and Michigan, none of those fucking people give a shit about Palestine. They don't fucking care. They are 100% pro-Israel all the way. And again, I'm not judging it right or wrong, but it is a problem that we as America contend with, that most of America being Christian, most of America doesn't give a shit about the Palestinian people. Now, how, knowing that that's what most of your country is, how do you help them is the conundrum we're left with. How do we help them knowing that most of the outrage you have about all the dying over there is going to just land on deaf ears because they really just want to buy a new car and be able to put their kids in college. So that's the conundrum that we have is how do we rescue the Palestinian people in the Middle East and not lose our own goddamn rights? Because like for me, I really care about the people in Palestine. I do. I honestly do. My heart breaks about both sides of the equation, how Israel's not wanted there and the Palestinians are not wanted there, and both of those sides are never going to give up. Like the Israeli government is never going to stop until all the Palestinian people are gone, and the Palestinian government are never going to stop even if they get moved out of the region. They're never going to stop until Israel is gone, and everybody else is fucking stuck in the middle. And that's like the sad reality of what is going on over there, whether we like it or not. So now the question becomes, well, what do we do about this? And how do we help them? Because I personally, though, am worried about like me living in a country where I can have this political channel without ending up in an El Salvador jail. I mean, I would love a peaceable two-state solution, but I just don't know how we get there. I don't know how we get there. And it's hard. The thing that pisses me off about this is what I've seen as a result of this, nobody having the answer to that situation in the Middle East. Now I feel like I am facing a possible theocratic authoritarian government in my own country because part of the people in my country are fighting more about what's going on in the Middle East, even though they have no power to change that, but they're not fighting the fight we should be fighting in our own homeland. And that's fucking got me a little pissed off because they're not going to win. The American leftists that are like, they're like everybody, the people that are so, they see both American parties as genocidal, so they're just like the whole deal. Like those people are not going to win. They're not going to overthrow the government. They're not going to stop the Trump hotel from appearing in Gaza. They're not going to save the Palestinian people, but they are potentially going to help root authoritarianism, theocratic authoritarianism here in America. And like that pisses me off. Because like, goddamn, dude, we can't end up a theocratic authoritarian government and think we're ever going to be able to save the Palestinians as well. And it just sucks because I don't have an answer to this. I feel like, you know, that's why this shit with like Kate Willett bothers me, because with her saying like she's not on my side, that like, here's the problem is if the Kate Willets of the world and the me of the world, if we would just unite and be a coalition, we could easily defeat MAGA. The only reason MAGA is having a party right now and really has taken power is two things. Like one, they have found a way to activate young white men into the political process with anger and a desire for retribution, because those men no longer having the male experience of the 1950s, they feel like the world's really hard for them. And it's never been hard for white men before in any way, so they're pissed. And so the red pillars have figured out how to energize that group, right? The evangelical Christians and those young, angry white men. That's their new fucking, that's why Charlie Kirk is out there doing the college tours. That's why they have Conor McGregor and Andrew Tate being supported by the White House. It's very clear what their thing is. But our problem is over on the left, we're fighting each other. Like Kate Willett, her enemy is me instead of like Donald Trump. And in fact, this is kind of like the Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian thing, where it looks like I'm a bigger enemy to Kate Willett than Donald Trump is. And that's why MAGA has power right now. Regardless of what happens with MAGA, what's going to happen with the Kate Willets of the world? Because I don't think they're actually going to go start a new party. I don't think Kate Willett is going to start a new party. I mean, first off, Kate Willett She had a Netflix special. She's getting a Trump tax cut. Like, she is getting the Trump tax cut. That's the thing that's crazy about this. A lot of these leftists, like another one of these guys is Adam McKay, the guy who did the Cheney movie. Oh yeah, see, Adam McKay deactivated his Twitter account, but he was another one. He was a staunch, like, pro-Palestinian, anti-democratic party. He brought that account back during the election to shit on Kamala Harris, like, for months. But, like, dude, he's getting the Trump tax cut. The guy is worth millions. And at that point, you got to wonder if they're doing it, if they're sabotaging so they can, like, take the moral high ground and get the Trump tax cut. That's where it's like, oh, I get it. You're going to fight me. But, like, she's getting the Trump tax cut. She doesn't even have any skin in the game, bro. Like, dude, that's, like, mind-blowing. All the leftists who are getting the Trump tax cut, they can have the integrity and burn down the Democratic Party because they're going to fucking prosper from Trump. And, like, that's a problem. That's a conflict of interest. To me, that's as big of a conflict of interest as Elon Musk. Okay? If you're a leftist advocating for the dissolution and the punishment of the Democratic Party in the face of fascism, but you're going to benefit from the fascist, that is one of those Elon Musk-like conflicts of interest where, like, that's weird. If the fascist wins, you make more money. All right, so yeah, you're probably gonna fucking go balls to the wall and even sink the Democrats because, like, you got nothing to lose. In fact, it's a win-win for you, right? In fact, they would have paid more taxes with Kamala Harris winning. So even then, the choice with them, they'd rather have Trump win than Kamala Harris. Because if they think they're both genocidal, at least with Trump winning, they're going to make more money. If Kamala won, they would have gotten taxed more. See, that's where it gets fucking shady. That's where it gets shady. Gutting the Democratic Party over 70 years of American foreign policy is not the solution. I mean, dude, it's like, you know, I just keep saying it. If you're super pro-Palestinian and you want to take on AIPAC, you have to run for Congress. We need you in Congress. That's what we need. We need you to get in Congress. Or if you're not going to get in Congress, we do need you to stop detonating the Democratic Party. And so you do have to pick one of those two. Either you're going to get in Congress and you're going to actually pursue your mission of establishing change, or if you're not going to get in Congress, then you need to stop detonating the one party that can do something. It's a fucking terrible reality, but it is the only reality we have. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.